Hi, I'm Ashlyn. I'm here with Gabriel, and today we're comparing the Sigma 105mm to the 135 and 85.
Hello everyone. Today we're going to be taking a look at several photos that I did with the Sigma 105, the 85 and the 135. And as you might know by now, I love my big Sigma glass, and thank you so much to Sigma for loaning me the 105 for this test. This is a test I've been meaning to do because I've considered replacing the 135 and the 85 with the 105 only. Besides the coolness factor of this huge glass on the 105, it also has fantastic rendering and great sharpness, but it also has some challenges because it is very wide. I don't mind the weight or anything like that. It's just very wide lens. When you're trying to fit it in your normal bags, you might have to rearrange things a little bit. But in my case, if I were able to replace the 135 and the 85, that'll still give me more space. So I've been meaning to try it, and finally, thanks to Sigma for giving me this loan, and I was able to play with it for like 10 days. But one thing I want to mention, and I'll probably bring it up when we're doing the checks here, but is that it seems that this copy of the 105 that I've been using wasn't the best, and I will explain later why. But anyway, here we have the 85 1.4. All these shots are wide open, and all the shots that you're seeing here were picked from the best of each lens. So I took anywhere from 10 to 20 photos per lens for each scene, and then I picked the sharpest of them all. And if I notice anything that was off, like many missed focus, I will bring it up. But aside from one scene, all of them were pretty accurate. So we will have the 85, we have the 105, and the 135, and all of them are wide open. Of course, the 135 at 1.8 and the other two at 1.4. This is taken with the A7R3. So you can see this is from the same distance, just give you an idea what the difference in focal range are from 85 to 135, and then from 135 to 105. Now, to me, this is not the greatest test because I wanted to see how the subject looks at keeping the subject the same size and then seeing how the compression and all that works. But just wanted to give you an idea of the rendering. The 85 looks really nice. So does the 105, but more blurred, and the 135 even more with that compression. So I guess it's a different look for each taste out there. So let's move on to actually keeping the subject the same size. So here we're back on the 85. Beautiful rendition. Everything looks good. Then we move to the 105 and the 135. Unfortunately, as much as I tried to keep the tripod on the same place because of the way the tripod mount on the 105 is, I wasn't able to keep it very well. So I'm planning to do a follow-up to this and do a better job. But hopefully this is still good for you guys to decide. So here we have the 85, and then we have the 105. So you can see the difference between the 85 and the 105 at the same distance is not that huge, really, when you think about it. Like in this particular scene, at least, yeah, you can see that the branches here behind her gets a bit closer to 105, and this gets bigger as well. And the blur, I'm trying to determine where the blur starts. It wasn't the best frame to determine that, but honestly, not a huge difference. And I'm not sure if I prefer the 105 or the 85 here. Since like the 85 has a little bit, maybe because it's pushing the branches back and it's not something I really need to be closer to her, it makes her pop out more than the 105. That's just my opinion. I would love to hear what you think. I'm going to the 135. Here you go, the 105. And then we go to the 135. Please ignore the color differences. So it brings everything further forward, and the compression 85, 135. You can see the big difference there. But again, in this particular scene, because it's pushing the trees further back, it seems she pops out more with the 85 to me at least. But again, please let me know what you think. Let's bring this resolution all 1:1. So the 85, again, this was the sharpest that I could get for each particular lens out of 10 to 20 sample photos for each scene. And this one, the 105, gave me a lot of trouble. It was consistent, but it was this look. Like, I never felt like it was razor sharp. And this is one of the reasons I want to get a new copy, because based on the lens rental test, that lens actually should be sharper than the other two in the center. Not a huge difference, but at least will be sharper or as good. And I didn't feel it was quite as good in this particular shot and some others. And the 135 is usually the sharpest for me. Now my copy of the 135 seems to be better than the ones that lens rental tested, based on the comparison to how it looks compared to the other lenses. But I mean, they all look great. I guess at this point we're looking at which one does more flattering facial features. Maybe I lean towards the 85 or the 105 in this particular shot. Even though I love shooting 135, but it's not always one lens that fits everybody. Let's see some more detail here on that necklace. The 85 looks a bit glowy here. The 105 seems to have better resolution, and the 135 is the sharpest. And let's see, just scroll down. Of course, this doesn't mean that anything is going to be in the same plane of focus, but just check this out and find out how they look. So 135, 105, and 85. And all these photos will be available for you guys to download from the description, so you can check this. I'm just going through them here to show you in the video, but feel free to download them, test them, comment what you see. If you see something different that I'm seeing, that would be great to know. Anyways, let's move back to the mid half body shot, or 3/4, I guess, in this case. This is the 85, the 105, and the 135. Now in this one I was able to frame the 135 and 105 very close, which gives me a really nice comparison. So you can see exactly how it goes from 105 to 135. And I think that's really nice to get that. And the 105, the 85 is very different, so it kind of makes it tricky to compare. So I mean, download and compare them yourselves. I'm gonna focus a bit more on these two because they look closer. And I noticed that in here the 105 bokeh is actually smoother than the 135. Now let's see how the sharpness in the eye. Definitely you can see more detail on the 135. Not that the 105 is bad, it's just that the 135 is super sharp. You can see here again the necklace. But let's check some of the bokeh here. For example, these areas on the 105. This is the 105, yes. And the 135. How about here, 105 and 135. So the 135 seems to have more structure on the bokeh, so less smooth here. The 105 just has bigger bokeh balls and makes it smoother rendition in that area, which is nice to me. Let's see if you can tell anything here. You can see here that it seems that the 105 starts blurring that faster than the 135. The same here, seems to have more blur. Let's see that plant on the back, if we can tell anything. And just looking around the different areas of the bokeh to see if there's anything we can compare. It's not so much there. Let's see on this side, this bokeh balls. So 105, 135. Definitely you can see there's more solid, more structure here. This one is smoother. Here on the wall behind her, that Again, you can see, you can tell more what it is with the 135 than the 105 a little bit. It's not a huge difference, but I think it's pretty obvious. Same here on the left side. Oops, my bad. Say 105, although the lighting is different, so maybe just the lighting just blowing up the details. So what do you think between these two images? I'm very curious because the way they changed to this one to this one, do you feel there's a huge difference between the two? Which one do you prefer, the 105 or the 135? Do you feel the bokeh difference are really that much? I mean, here you can tell even at that size that the bokeh balls become bigger here, but how much is a big deal is it? I mean, reality here again, you can see on this side that it is more, it's definitely smoother on this one. Same here with this wall, you can tell even on that side that it's smoother, but is it that big? Is it more important than the extra reach and the extra sharpness that I'm getting from the 135? And here's the 105, even though I'm not comparing much on it because there's a lot of the scene looks different because of how the song was moving. So I kind of left it out of the comparison on this one. So let's move out to the last photos, which will be close-ups. Again, not the best comparison because it's not exact match on the posing or the distance from the model, but just tried my best on this one and it kind of failed, but here it goes. 85, 105, and 135. The 135 is a bit closer, so sorry about that. I mean, they all look great. If I had to choose between 85 and 135, I think the 85 is more flattering for her facial features. Like, I think the 135 is pushing the more flat on the face. It's making it more. It doesn't have the same. I don't know how to put it. Like perspective, that like the nose, the way the cheeks are, it just looks better to me on the 85 and that one. I don't know. Maybe it's the pose. For comparison, this is the 105 and the 85. This two looks very similar, but the pose makes me actually look this pose better. So I guess I will give the 135 the last vote here, but without the exact same posing, it's hard to judge because any movement on the facial, on the face position can alter your perspective and how you see the different areas of the face. At least for me, that happens all the time. So, and if we go to full size here, the 135 is insanely sharp. Remember, we're looking at the sharpness on the actually eyeball, not the eyelashes. This one has sharper eyelashes again, and this one it has some trouble getting me the actual eyeball in focus very well, that I didn't have with the other one. And this one I was able to get it, so it's very sharp in the eyeball. But they all are super sharp. I mean, we're just splitting hairs here. Any of this will be great sharp lenses. So it's more a matter of, is there a specific rendition you prefer over the others? Is there a size restriction? Are you able to use the 105 and forget about an 85 and a 135? Those are the questions that I'm trying to answer for myself. And it's a tough question because when I shoot indoors and I want to do a full size body shot, I normally have to push myself pretty far on my studio to fit with the 85. I still have enough space to fit with a 105, but this is my current studio. I might be moving and I don't know how long the next studio is going to be. So I have to consider that. Again, carrying that 105 with how wide it is and it's still kind of heavy. How would that handle if I'm using a Moneymaker dual camera strap? Will I be able to balance it with that monster on one side and 35 1.2 on the other? Which, by the way, the 35 1.2 review is coming soon. So those are the questions that I have. I'm just would like to know what you guys think. Is this 105 a great lens that you think can replace both of the 85 and 135? Is that a kit that you use like I'm doing? Or is it too big to be practical and not much of a product that a lot of people is looking for? It's a confusing lens. It's a very attractive lens. It's a definitely icebreaker. When you go out and shooting with that lens, everybody wants to talk about it. What is this? Well, they make jokes about it. So it's a good way to get people to, talk to you on a wedding or any events, if that's what you want. If you want to be quiet and not like to be noticed, then this is definitely not the lens for you. Anyways, like I said, I'm gonna get another copy of the lens. Hopefully that will be sharper, and I'm gonna play with it more, do a full shoot with it, and see if I can make a decision myself. So let me know what you think. Download those files, play with them, and give me your opinion. I would love to hear what you think about all three lenses, and if you think there's a big deal between them, or you pretty much just pick any of them and make great photos. So thank you for watching the video, and I'll wait for your comments.